third point is observation. Observe what's around us. We observe with our senses. If we only hear with our ears, but we listen with our minds, I'm absolutely convinced that we only see with our eyes, but we observe with our senses. And we are walking billboards for life to see what we are thinking. I was in Spokane, Washington a while back. I was speaking with 16 financial advisors. They were all economists, and they were all men. I don't mind all men. I mean, I like a balanced audience, but this was a tight room. These were all economists, and it was kind of a tough situation. They were in their black suits. They had their black ties, black shoes, black shirts, a little black cloud hanging over them. I mean, this was really a dark room. Their arms were folded like this, looking back at me with their little beady eyes, like some of you are. And at the end of an hour, I needed a break. And at the break, one of the guys walked up to one of the other guys and says, "Hey, are you happy?" He said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Well, why don't you notify your face?" See, of all the things you wear, your smile is the most important. I was in another situation, and the guy asked me, "How do you get to know who people are? How can you do this?" I say, "You tell me who your friends are, and I can tell you who you are. Get to know your friends, you get to know yourself." Let's say we're at an event. It's not a pleasant event. Maybe it's a funeral, and there's a casket here, and there's a guy in it, and he's dead. You never met the guy before. You don't know who he is. Not the foggiest clue who he is. How would you get to know what kind of a person he was? You talk to his friends, yeah. By the way, the number of people who will attend your funeral will largely be determined by the weather, so you want to schedule that date very carefully. Yeah. See, you get to know the friends. Corporate executives don't hang out with bums. Students on the honor roll don't hang out with school dropouts. Top producers don't hang out with coffee clutchers. We tend to draw into our circle of friends those people who think like we do. I'm pleased as all get out when I draw into my circle of friends those people who think, because most people don't. Ken McFarland, the late great American educator, said, if most people said what they were thinking, they'd be speechless. He said only 2% of the people think. 3% of the people think they think. And 95% of the people would rather die than think. They want someone else to do their thinking for them. Would you like to know who that person is? It's you that they're relying on. You as a leader. You have placed yourselves in a very unusual and esteemed position of leadership. And management and leadership play both roles on both occasions. Another example of how we display ourselves. I lived in Denver for a while. Dana and I were there for about 11 years. By the way, where is Dana? Where is Dana? Okay, this is the woman who makes my life the spectacular adventure that it is. Stand up, Dana. There she is. Give her a hand. I was out for my morning jog one morning in Denver. Anybody from Denver or know of Denver? Familiar with it at all? All right. It was right around 3rd and University in the Cherry Creek area. And I was out for my morning jog, and here comes this huge guy toward me with this maroon T-shirt on. Must have been 6'3", 6'4", weighed, I got to say, 300 pounds. Big guy. Barreling down the street at about 200 miles an hour. Well, I was moving along at a pretty good clip myself, and we were on a collision course. And I figured one of us better step aside. So I did. And we got about as close as, well, a lot closer than we are here. I could see the whites of his eyes. So I looked him in the eyes, and I said, "Good morning," and I smiled. And he buzzed on past me. I mean, I could feel the breeze as he walked on by. And I said to myself, that's sad. We all live on the same planet. We all eat the same foods. We breathe the same air. We have the same goals, the same needs, the same aspirations. And yet for some reason or other, we can't look each other in the eyes and smile. Well, the very next day, on the very same street, very same time, here comes this same guy. I knew it was him. He had the maroon T-shirt on, and I was downwind. So, there was no missing this guy. I mean, it was very evident it was him. So we got about the same distance away, and I said to myself, as every single person in this room has at one time or another, okay, Jim, now's the time to take a risk. So I looked him in the eyes, and I smiled, and I said, good morning. And he stopped, dead in his tracks, scared the heck out of me. Put his feet apart like this, put his hand on his hip, looked down at me, and he said, do I know you? I said, yes, we met yesterday. Now, you think about that, and you say, well, but it's happened to all of us. I mean, you've been in the restaurant, 15 minutes goes by, and you still don't have your water or your menu. Get a little miffed. You say, hey, come on over here. I'm an important person. I've got places to go, things to do, people to see. Can't you hurry it up a little bit for me? Or you're in the bank or outside of the bank on a Friday afternoon. The line is so long, the teller's having trouble making money or something or other. Finally, you get up there and you say, come on, snap it up a little bit. I've got places to go here. And the very next day, this person with whom you're a little bit short with, a little bit curt with, possibly bordering on abusive, walks into your Rotary Club, into your church, into your organization, and the very first person they see there is you. How pleased they're going to be. How long do you think they're going to want to stick around? They're going to be out of there. What I'm sharing with you, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need. Put your hand high over your head. Put it up there. Reach over and pat someone on the back. You deserve to be congratulated. You came to the program today. What I'm sharing with you is this. We need to learn to extend the same courtesies to perfect strangers as we would to those we love. But some people in this room have to do the exact opposite. To learn to share the same courtesies to those we love as we would with perfect strangers. And you know who you are. Absolutely know who you are. And we're all predictable. We're very predictable. Take out a pencil, a pen. Do it. Find a little corner of something to write on real quickly. I want to have you write 4 words, just 4 words, real quickly. And I'll guide you on this. What I'd like you to do, number 1, is I would like you not to be thinking. Don't think. Because I'll guide you. And the 4 words I want you to write down, I want you to write down real quickly without thinking at all. No thinking. Are you ready? Write down a number, a color, a piece of furniture, and a flower. Now, if you're still writing, you're thinking. All right. Everyone look up at the screen if you would. See the results. How many have one or more of those items on their paper? Raise your hand. Look around you, please. How many have 2 or more on the paper? Look around you. Gosh, maybe more, almost half the room. How many have 3 or more? Interesting. How many have all 4, just out of curiosity? All right, if it's not red, it's probably a primary color. If it's not 7, it's probably a single-digit figure. If it's not chair, it's probably a common piece of furniture, a sofa, a table, a couch. And I can bet you a donut to a rye crisp, it is not a yellow double-blooming hibiscus. What we're talking about is the law of predictability. We are predictable, and we are visual billboards because only 7% of what we say is heard through words, 38% is heard through the feeling, the intonation behind the words, and 55% of who we are is body signals.